The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Select adventure, new game. Alright, let's enjoy this. I am.
歴史的な開国から数十年、文明開化の大号令のもと、極東の島国にまさに今西洋文化の大波が押し寄せていた。活気に満ち溢れる帝都の民は変化、革新の熱気にむせ返り、その変化に戸惑う者も飲み込んで、時代は大きなうねりの中にあった。そして今、そんな時代を舞台に一つの物語が幕を開く。
Wow, okay. Bienvenue à la Carnival. The Adventure of the Great Departure, Episode 1. I just read it upside down. 22nd November, 8:43 a.m. Supreme Court of Conjecture Defendants. Add to Chamber 5. I still can't believe it. I still can't believe this is happening. How can it be that just beyond the doors to this quiet little chamber is the highest court in Japan waiting to decide my fate? What? Oh, no, nothing. Save your glares, murderer. Sorry. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a second-year student in the Imperial... Wow, that's way too fast. Alright. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a second-year student at the Imperial Yume University. 3 days ago, I somehow found myself in the middle of a horrifying incident. And now, here I am, awaiting my trial. That's enough. He is not obliged to listen to such abuse, officer. And who are you? I'm this man's lawyer. I'll be defending him today. Lawyer? Yes. And until the judge has given his verdict on the case, no one has the right to treat him as a criminal. So you will hold your tongue. Technicalities. Look at you. You haven't been you haven't even graduated yet. And yet, I still seem to know better than you how a court officer should behave. Right. Ryunosuke. Oh, yes. Of course. Sorry. What are you apologizing to me for? Oh, no, I suppose that wasn't my fault. But really, Kazuma, I never meant to drag you into this. I am sorry. Ha 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 ha! There you go again, apologizing. Just like always. Thought I must say, you've been all over the newspapers these past few days. Yume University professor murdered in cold blood by student. But obviously, you didn't actually do it, did you? Of course not! You have to believe me! I didn't do it! I could never murder someone. Then, there's nothing to worry about. Straighten yourself up. Hold your head high. You mean... I believe you. I know you're innocent, Ryunosuke. Oh my god, I can't pronounce his name. Ryunosuke. Ryunosuke. Okay, I just want to make sure. Kazuma Asugi, my best friend. Also in his second year at Yume University. Oh, no wonder. But he's far more clever than I, a star student in fact. He's even a qualified lawyer. Impressive, considering he's still an undergraduate. It's not that impressive. The very concept of lawyers is only a few years old here in Japan anyway. My qualifications don't mean much yet. You said exactly the same thing 3 days ago. But I'm proud to have a friend like you, Kazuma. Truly. 3 days ago. Yes, that's when all this started. Congratulations, Kazuma. It looks like you're going to get us to study abroad at last. I know, I've been forever dreaming of this day. Finally, those government elites have acknowledged my academic achievements and successes in court. So, you'll be representing Japan as you immerse yourself in the most sophisticated legal system in the world. I'm really happy for you and proud as your friend. There's not a soul in the university who doesn't know Kasuma's name. He's a living legend. It's like there's some mysterious aura bellowing around his temple. I want to bring about change in our own legal system. That's why I have to cross the ocean to see the real thing with my own eyes. I think I know what this game's about. The heart of the British Empire. I wish I could see it too. Then come with me. We'd have a wild time tearing up the streets of Her Majesty's City of London together. If only it were that simple. Oh dear, look at the time, I better be going. Alright, I'll see you later. I think I'll stay and enjoy this place a while longer. Good idea. After all, it's not every day you get to visit a high-class Western restaurant like this. See you in English class tomorrow then, partner. It was straight after that. That's when it happened. Asogi, may I have a word? Professor, I didn't know you were coming. Well, this case has personal significance to me. But never mind that for now, Asogi. You should go immediately to the judge's court chambers. Wow. I'm just like... just reading the wrong thing. To Excellency's chambers. Why? He was looking for you before. You advocating for the defense in this trial was a sudden decision. It seems there may be some confusion about procedures today as a result. Who is this man? I feel as though I've seen him at a university before. I see. I'll go at once then. I shall accompany you. Alright then. Ryunosuke. Oh my god, his name is really hard to pronounce. Ryunosuke. Okay. I'll see you in the courtroom. Yes, thanks, Kazuma. Ugh, this is awkward. If I may. Yes, sorry? You must be the defendant. Ryunosuke. Naruhodo, I believe. Yes, that's right. My name is Eugene Mikotoba. I'm a professor of forensic medicine at Yume University. Ah, Professor Mikotoba. I've heard that name from Kazuma before. As I recall, he's been pushing to get the government to agree to Kazuma studying abroad. Asogi has told me about you. You and he are best friends, I understand. As such, I feel you should know. Know what? Well, as you no doubt heard, Asogi has been granted permission to go and study in Great Britain. However, if he should fail to defend you in today's trial, I'm afraid that permission will be revoked and never granted again. What? Ah, as I suspected, you were unaware of this. I had a feeling Asogi may have chosen not to tell you. He's agreed to defend me, knowing that if he fails, his dreams will be shattered. But I don't understand, why would the government do such a thing? The administration has to choose from a large number of applicants for overseas study. It's very difficult to persuade them to grant permission, even in the most favorable of circumstances. I don't believe it. But I didn't do it. I swear, I'm not a murderer. I'm sure that's true. Nevertheless, I can assure you that proving you're innocent will be no easy task. You see, there are certain peculiar... Oh my god, I know what this says, but... peculiarities... Okay, about today's trial. Sorry? What do you mean? You'll soon understand once proceedings get underway. Let me guess, it's all about rich people, right? I have a feeling it's about this. But then, what should I do? Well... naturally, I'm not going to suggest doing anything that could lead to a conviction. Right, so... as soon as the trial starts, the judge will pose a certain question to the defense. When that happens, you must answer before anyone else. You must say, I do. I do? But what will the question be? Excuse me. Surely not. Do you accept the accusations brought before you? Of course not. Defend it. Court is about to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once. Ah, it would seem our surreptitious discussions are to be cut short. So allow me to summarize. Kazuma Asogi must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. Of course, as the defendant, the final decision is yours. What are you waiting for? Do you want to be found guilty for failing to appear? Get moving. There's no point in anyone advocating for the likes of you anyway. Oh, these guys are so rude. This is it. If this trial goes badly, Kazuma's dreams of studying abroad are over, and what's more, I'll be found guilty of murder. And so, with absolutely no idea of what lay ahead, I embarked on the unforgettable trial. My one and only chance of proving my innocence. The trial that would decide my destiny. 22nd November, 9 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, Courtroom 2. Okay. Hold on a second. There we go. So this is a courtroom. The Supreme Court of Judicature. No court in the land has more power. I don't much like the look of those people sitting in the public gallery. Lots of military and other uniforms in there. The powers that have demanded that this be a secret trial. A secret trial? A trial that closed to ordinary members of the public. Only military and government officials may attend. What? But why? It will become clear in time. But for now, you need to concentrate. Ryunosuke is about to begin. Oh my god, his name is so awkward. The guy across is such a familiar face, I swear. The court will now hear the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. No. God damn. The prosecution is ready, Your Excellency. Wow, one slip of a word and then you're slipping all words. As in the defense. Before we begin, there is one point of order I would like to confirm. Yesterday evening, the defense made a last-minute request for a change of advocate. That's correct, Your Excellency. I made the request myself. Normal procedure is for the defendant's advocacy to be decided 2 days prior to trial. As this is an unusual circumstance, I am obliged to ask for final confirmation now. The words. Who advocates for the defendant in this trial? This is it. This must be the question. Who's going to defend me? That's the question the professor meant. But then, if I say I do, I need to answer quickly. What should I do? Answer I do. Your Excellency, no confirmation is needed. As I am standing here beside the defendant, I hope it's clear who will advocate for his defense. What is the meaning of this unruly outburst? I would like to inform the court that I, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, will be defending myself. You will be... What? What are you playing at, Ryunosuke? Professor Mikotoba told me everything just now before the trial. He did what? He said that your dreams of studying abroad would be dashed if you were to lose. How sad. It means you don't have faith in me. You think I won't be able to get you off. You would love that, wouldn't you? No, I'm just joking. No, it's not that, really. It's just that, well, on the off chance that things don't go well for me, I couldn't bear to be the reason that you... Yes. I knew that's how you'd feel, which is exactly why I decided not to tell you. Professor Mikotoba shouldn't have stuck his nose in. Very well. The court hereby recognizes the defendant's desire to advocate for himself in today's trial. Well. Does the accused admit defeat already? Re-announcing his own counsel, really? Make no mistake, counsel. This merely shows that the defendant's innocence is so apparent he's confident he can speak for himself. Isn't that so, Naruhodo-san? Oh, yes, exactly. Exactly what I wasn't thinking. I'm not confident at all. In fact, my mind's complete blank. I realize you're in charge now, but still, try not to look so bewildered. Well, for a mere university student to be brought before the Supreme Court, you must have perpetrated a most heinous crime indeed. As you are no doubt aware, this is the Supreme Court of Judicature of Japan. Accordingly, the very highest standards of conduct are expected of all present. Do I make myself clear, defendant Naruhodo? Okay, I think I'm just gonna call him Naruhodo from now on, because, like, his first name is, like, so hard to pronounce. Yes, Your Excellency. It is therefore my duty to assess your competence for the task you have undertaken. My competence? What does that mean? He's questioning your ability to do the job. Well, he can't be questioning it more than I am. So, let's start with the very simplest of questions. Yes. Kindly state before the court the name of the victim in this case. How do I know? Well, that's easy. That's easy enough. I've heard his name more times than I care to remember. But, wait. Ugh, I'm so nervous. I can't even remember that. What was it again? Naruhodo. I'm just gonna say Naruhodo, okay, guys? Let me guess. Your mind's gone blank. You know me so well. All the relevant information for this case can be found in the court record. But I can't even find that. It's simple. You can access the court record with a press of R1. If you ever find you've forgotten something, just consult that. It's all in there. I just have to press R1 for the court record? Alright, there's no time to lose. This is the list of evidence you've collected. Now try switching to people instead of with R1. You'll find the details about the victim in there. When you're done, just press circle to go back. John H. Wilson, 47, the victim of this case. He was visiting professor of medicine at UMaine University from the British Empire. Okay, so it's John H. Wilson, then he's the victim. Alright. So remember, everything to do with the current case can be found in the court record. Now, you better not keep His Excellency waiting any longer. Go on. Find the victim in the people section of the court record, then press triangle to present. Try it now. The victim's name was Dr. John H. Wilson. Well, at least you could remember the name of an esteemed member of your own university. Dr. Wilson was a visiting professor from England invited to UMaine University 3 years ago. Indeed. Which is the reason why this case has such profound implications. The British Empire is at present our country's most valuable foreign ally. And as most of you will be aware, we have just signed a new treaty together after lengthy negotiations. There can't be anyone who hasn't heard of the Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation. And yet, despite these delicate circumstances, the blood of an Englishman has been spilt on our soil. You two are both undergraduates at the Imperial UMaine University, are you not? Murdering a professor from the very institution that provides your education, have you no honor? Ugh, but I didn't do it. This case is coming under great scrutiny from our allies on the other side of the world. The court, therefore, wishes for a speedy resolution to this matter. In other words, our feeble government is scared of upsetting England's policymakers. And you are a confident and expendable scapegoat to blame for this crime. So that's why this trial has these usual peculiarities, is it? Exactly, our government needs to convict somebody as quickly as possible. All because the victim was an Englishman. Yes, Dr. Wilson was an Englishman. But nationalities and treaties won't make any difference for me here. The fact is, I was there at the scene of the crime. Oh dear, look at the time. I better be going. Alright, I'll see you later. I think I'll stay and enjoy this place a little longer. Good idea. After all, it's not every day you get to visit a high-class Western restaurant like this. See you in English class tomorrow then, partner. The British Empire. Wow. It's incredible to think. Wait. I've seen that man at the university. I'm sure he's visiting a professor from Great Britain. I don't know his name, but still I should go and say hello. So I went over to the professor's table and introduced myself to Dr. Wilson. Now then, let me pose my next question to you, defendant Naruhodo. Yes, Your Excellency. How did this professor of medicine, Dr. John Wilson, lose his life? State before the court the cause of death. The cause of death? Well, obviously, that was, Naruhodo! Remember that in court, every assertion must be backed up by evidence. By evidence, but how? Find the piece of evidence that shows the professor's cause of death and select present. Do it now. University call. No, I don't need read that. Post-mortem report. Death occurred a little after 2 p.m. and was caused by a loss of blood from a gunshot to the chest. The bullet did not pass through the victim's body. Oh, that's it? Okay, it's just enlarged. Alright. What is that? Well... According to this document, the victim suffered a hemorrhage... Are you serious? You can't read that? Hemorrhagic death due to a gunshot trauma. Learn to read, you imbecile. That's the post-mortem report, I take it. Sorry, yes. That's right. The post-mortem report. In the West, a doctor dissects corpses to identify the cause of death in an autopsy. But here in Japan, a police officer merely inspects the body and draws conclusions that way. Oh, I see. As long as I'm not going to be tested on any of these on this later. This is a so-called photographic print of the scene of the crime. You can clearly discern scorch marks around the bullet hole produced by the powder explosion. Wait, did I read that right? Oh yeah, okay, powder explosion. In other words, we should assume that the victim was shot at a close range. Thank you, counsel. The court will accept this modern scientific evidence into the court record. The photographic print of the victim has been entered into the courtroom. Photograph a victim. A photographic print that shows the victim. He was shot from the front, in the chest, and subsequently died. So that's a photographic print. Well, that's something I've never seen before. It's clearly superior to a drawing. The detail is incredible. Very well. I'm satisfied with your answers. Let us start the trial. Certainly, Your Excellency. So, without further ado, in order to better apprise the court with the facts of the case, the prosecution hereby calls its first witness, who was there at the scene of the crime when it happened. Ugh. This is it, then. I think I may have worked out what the professor had in mind. The professor? You mean Dr. Mikotowa? Yes, clearly you're the defense lawyer today, not me. But that doesn't mean... Well, I can still act as your assistant. Ah, of course. When he was speaking with me before, he simply said, Kazuma Asogi must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. He really has been sticking his oar in, hasn't he? Maybe, but any help you can give me would be greatly appreciated, Kazuma. Well, my first piece of advice is, rein in that crazy look of bewilderment and control the cold sweats. Only if you rein in that crazy headband and control the cold stares first. Witness, state your name and occupation for the court, please. Of course. My name is Satoru Hasunaga. I am the head waiter at a Western-style restaurant called Le Carnival. Yeah, guys, I speak French, so yeah, I know how to read. Are you alright? You seem to be coughing up some, It's a regular occurrence. It really doesn't bother me. Well, it really should. As everyone knows, the capital's southeastern quarter was developed for foreign visitors some years ago. It's become a very fashionable district now, full of hotels to accommodate overseas guests. This grim crime occurred in one of the district's so-called restaurants, an accidental eatery 3 days ago. Understood. Hasunaga-san, you will kindly tell the court everything you can about the incident. At once, sir. And no petty interjections from the inspiring lawyer boy, please. Oh, perspiring maybe, but aspiring? It was just after 2 p.m. on the day in question. We have a few dinners at the time of day. The lunchtime rush was over, and there were only 3 tables still occupied. That fits in with my memory of it, too. There was hardly anyone else in the place. It was when I was in the kitchen putting away crockery and cutlery. A gunshot rang out, so I hurried out to the dining area to see what had happened. I found the victim, an English gentleman, slumped in his chair, and standing immediately beside him, gun in hand, was the accused university student. Hold on. Let me just clarify something here. While I did pick up a gun that I found lying on the floor beside the professor, I didn't shoot him. I believe I asked you to refrain from petty interjections. The court wishes to listen to the witness report of what he saw, you amateur. But the next time you interrupt at an inappropriate time, you will be penalized, defendant Naruhodo. Don't worry, Ryunosuke. You'll have your chance to fight back. You know what? I'm just gonna say his name because I did try to practice pronouncing it. For now, we must quietly listen to the witness. Ugh. If I may confirm one point, waiter. Standing beside the victim with a gun in his hand, was the same man we see here in the court today. Yes, without question. I see. And apart from the accused, was there anyone else standing beside the victim? No. There was no one else around that table but the deceased Englishman and the university student. Huh? Wait, what did you just say? There was no one else around that table. What's the matter, Ryunosuke? Ryunosuke. That's just not right. When I went over to Dr. Wilson to say hello, there was a woman sitting opposite him at his table. Really? And that's not something the waiter could have missed. I've been warned about interjecting, but still, what should I do? Just a moment, please. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone that day, I'm sure of it. There was a lady sitting with him at the same table. Dear me, what are we going to do with you? With your blatant disregard for court proceedings, I'm beginning to wonder if you're not a fraud. Could it be that the accused, this mere student, is not a real lawyer after all? But I'm sure of what I saw. Hasonaga-san, is there any chance you're mistaken? Perhaps your memory of events is hazy. No. The deceased gentleman came to dine alone. No, he did not dine alone. Clearly the woman was sitting there. Are you just blind? Clearly he wears glasses, so he's clearly blind. I don't believe it. I actually have a rough plan of the restaurant as it was that day. Please, have a look at it. Look if you'd like to. Unless she snuck in after. Let me see. Ah, a sketch of the establishment layout, drawn by yourself, I presume. It's kind of nice, actually. That's right. I'm afraid I used the back of my business card. It was a turbulent situation. However, as you can see, the gentleman in question was seated alone. Well, you're clearly a very conscientious waiter. Thank you, sir. The court will take plan and add it to the court record as evidence. I'm assuming she ran away after she shot him. The court will take this plan to add it to the court record as evidence. Oh, well. Is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once. Of course. Here you are. What was that about? He's been completely calm and collected until now. Something certainly seems to have shaken him. The waiter's business card has been entered into the court record. Waiter's business card, the head waiter's business card, a sketch of the restaurant's layout is on the back. So, the court has now heard a precis of the case. Yes, at the moment the gunshot was heard in the restaurant, the only person in close proximity to the victim was the defendant on trial today. It would seem we are looking at a black and white case here. What? Oh, okay, I was confused by that for a second. Defendant Naruhodo. Yes, Your Excellency. If you admit your guilt at this stage, the court is willing to look mercifully upon you. In other words, you may have some small reprieve in terms of your inevitable punishment. I call this waiter as an unsworn witness in order to explain the details of the case to the court. But I must warn the defense, if you are determined to pursue matters further in this trial, the prosecution has decisive evidence from sworn witnesses who are present at the scene of the crime. Oh my god, reading way too much. What do you think I should do, Kazuma? What do you mean? Well, I'm going to be found guilty one way or another, it seems. Wouldn't it be sensible to plead guilty at this stage and hope for a mere lenient sentence? Everyone keeps telling me that this trial is unusual, about these peculiarities. You've said it, Professor Mikotoba said it, and so has the judge and the prosecution. I'm scared of what lies ahead if I push this. As I said from the outset, I believe you're innocent, I trust you. And yet, despite knowing that, you're willing now to throw that trust back in my face, is that it? What? If the accused is in fact innocent, then a defense lawyer is duty-bound to prove that innocent by whatever means necessary. Are you just going to abandon that duty? Are you going to give up on yourself? The battle hasn't even begun yet, Ryunosuke. The defense pleads not guilty, Your Excellency. We invite the prosecution to stop making empty threats and bring out its witnesses. Then we'll see just how decisive this evidence really is. Indeed. Prosecutor Ochi, please continue with proceedings. Well, you were warned. The young can be so reckless. You know, many call me a saint, but I can be a devil when I want to be. Ugh. In a few short moments from now, that dumbstruck young mouth of yours will be silenced forever. The prosecution calls its next witnesses. Very well, officer. Bring forth the witnesses at once. Oh god, he looks like Hitler. Witnesses, kindly state your names and occupations for the court. Yes, sir. The Great Ninpo Imperial Army Sergeant Ayesa Nosa reporting for duty, sir. Myself, I find employ as a purveyor of fine articles of antiquity from the efflorescence of our nation Ninpo. Wow, I was like, yeah, I read the opposite. And conduct my trade from Rasute, a humble premises in the 2nd district. Kiru Ido Korekuta, at your service. An antique dealer and a soldier, what an unusual pairing. Both of these gentlemen were present at the restaurant on the day in question. I hope I don't offend anybody by saying he looks like Hitler, because he really does. They must be the diners at the other table that the waiter mentioned. Myself, I habitually take tea of the most exquisite aroma at the establishment in question always past noon, and not infrequently converse with interested parties regarding the curios with which I make my business. Okay. I can't understand a word that old man is saying. Yeah, I don't understand a word he's saying either, and I'm trying to read what he's saying. He's an antique dealer, and it sounds like he's a regular at La Carnival. He seeks out potential customers who may have an interest in antiques and tries to sell his wares to them. He obviously targets La Carnival because it's a high-class restaurant with a rich clientele. Well, I'll just say it like that, clientele. Right, I see. Although, to be honest, that sergeant looks more like he'd be a seller rather than a buyer. Now, you both witnessed the precise moment of this most atrocious incident. Is that correct? Affirmative. The enemy unit was attacking the foreigner in what can only be described as an act of war, sir. It was that black uniformed rogue in Banshee-man over there who unloaded his firearm, sir. Excuse me. This man as impossible to understand as the other. Yeah, I feel you, dude. But I'm almost sure I heard a strange noise during the last thing he said. This is probably why I can't read things properly, because it just... The whole world, words together make absolutely no sense to me. So this is the decisive evidence the prosecution was threatening. The soldier is claiming that he actually saw the precise moment you shot the victim dead. Yes! Well, are you starting to feel uncomfortable? If I'm honest, I was feeling uncomfortable from the start. Now, the court will hear your formal testimony, please. You will state everything you saw at the precise moment that the incident occurred. Sir, yes, sir, standing by ready to report, sir. Unsavory memories of a most acerbic afternoon. Oh my god, these people make no sense. Witness testimony. Ooh. Alright, something familiar. What the witnesses saw. No, sir. I was ingesting a regulation beefsteak at the restaurant while having a tactical discussion with the old man. Myself, I was extolling the virtues of a particularly fine golden curio to the military gentleman. At that precise moment, a firearm was discharged. I observed the enemy's action with my own eyes. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English testimony, and from the back the cowardly little weasel. I was on my hands and knees investigating the whereabouts of my mysterious, absconded precious curio. Okay, I think I'm going to listen to the other guy, because the old man is talking about things that make no sense to me. Well, so you, Sergeant Nosa, actually witnessed a vital moment. You saw the split second when the defendant fired the weapon at the victim. Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. That victim university cadet, sir. The cruel and unforgivable enemy. What times we live in, when an English gentleman may be assailed in the broad light of day. But this is ridiculous. I didn't shoot anyone. Is that really true, Ryunosuke? Yes, all I did was pick up the gun that I saw lying on the floor. After I said hello to Dr. Wilson, I went back to my table and sat drinking some coffee. Then, when I'd finished, I got up from my seat to leave the restaurant, when I noticed an English-made gun next to the chair where the professor was sitting. I thought perhaps the professor had dropped it, so I bent down, and just as I was picking it up, bang! Well, if that's the truth, there was obviously a criminal on the scene somewhere. And somewhere in these two witnesses' testimonies, there's a clue as to who that criminal was. There is. Ryunosuke, you must exercise your right to cross-examine the witness. Cross-examine? Do it now. As we have heard, Your Excellency, there is no room for doubt in the testimony of these witnesses. The defendant is clearly guilty. It is time to bring the despicable student to justice. Certainly, the testimony the court has just heard eliminates any vestige of doubt. Therefore, it is my grave duty to declare the verdict of... Yeah, you know what? That was a nice interruption. What in the name of the Emperor is the meaning of this outburst? The defense demands its right to cross-examination. Dear me. Let me guess. The Hajimaki headband boy next door told me to do it. How pathetic. Huh. How did he know? The prosecution objects. This is a clear waste of time. The defendant obviously has no experience. How can he possibly carry out a cross-examination? The defense is asserting its right to a cross-examination. Whether or not you think he's capable of it is irrelevant. Kazuma is so commanding. Very well. Let the defense conduct a cross-examination of the witnesses. Alright, this is where the battle really begins, Ryunosuke. But I don't even know what I have to do in a cross-examination. Isn't it obvious? You have to expose the lies in the witness statements. How? You didn't fire the gun, which means what that soldier said has to be a lie. See, it's the one I pointed out. Well, yes, but it's just a case of proving it, and the key to doing that is evidence. Right, evidence. All you need to do is present some decisive and indisputable evidence that proves the witness is lying. Now, let's go, Ryunosuke. Don't let them beat you. Alright then. It's all or nothing. Let's go. Cross-examination. What the witnesses saw. I was ingesting a regular beefsteak at the restaurant while having a tactful discussion with you. Okay, that's not important. Myself, I was extolling the virtues of particularly fine golden curry out of the military gentleman. At the precise moment a firearm was discharged, I observed the enemy's action with my own eyes. Okay, so there's something wrong about this because they said they were dining at 12 p.m. Okay, they were dining at noon. But, as I see in here, death occurred a little after 2 p.m. and was caused by a loss of blood from a gunshot to the chest. The bullet did not pass through the victim's body. Okay, but first I'm going to press him just to see if I don't want to make a mistake. So, you're saying that you actually saw me at that time? Affirmative, I saw you. Laughing, cackling like a madman as you trained the barrel of your gun on that English civilian. But that's impossible. I only... Allow me to confirm just one point, please. What's that, Private? Think carefully about the statement you just made. It seems to me that it must have been just after you heard the gunshots that you looked over to the victim's table. And so what if it was? Well, if that really is the case, it would mean that you didn't in fact see the precise moment when the killer actually fired the gun. Ugh. Sorry, I had to do that again. I read it wrong. My sixth sense. Sorry. My sixth sense of danger. I picked up the waves of murderous energy radiating from your foul mind. Which means, a split second before you pulled the trigger, I was looking right at you, Cadet. Surely that's not really possible, is it? Do you think I'd I have got where I am today in the army if I couldn't sense danger in the air, son? Well, it would seem that this soldier is absolutely convinced that he saw you do the deed. This is not good. Prime presser. Haha, I got a trophy for that. The black uniform varsity cadet fired on the English civilian from the back, the cowardly little... Wait a second. Is it either that one? The gunshot to the chest and the bullet. Okay, it's this one. I thought it was the one before, but it's clearly... Let me just press it just to make sure. So, this black uniform university cadet, you're saying that was... Ugh! I've had just about enough of your sauce, cadet. Who else do you see around here in a black uniform? Well, there's someone standing right next to me who fits the description as well, but... It was you, you little weasel. You unloaded the firearm on that man from behind his back, and you call yourself a citizen of the great Empire of Nippon? You disgust me. What is it, Ryunosuke? I'm not quite sure. It's something that the sergeant just said, but I can't put my finger on it. Something's playing on my mind. In that case, check back over the details of the evidence you've gathered in the court record, and if you find an inconsistency there with what the witness just said, then don't hold back. Present the evidence to the court. Thrust it in the witness's face and make him choke on it. Oh, dude, I didn't know you had fantasies like that. Come on, man, you want him to choke on it? Bruh, that's a little too much, don't you think? Alright. Okay, the old man is just spouting gibberish. I'm not even gonna put... He's the one that I need to pay attention to. Okay, let's go back. And I'm gonna present to you with the post-mortem report. I'm so glad I pressed him on that. That was some funny shit. What? What are you playing at, cadet? What is the meaning of this subordination? Thrusting this wad of papers in my mustache. Oh, you love it in your mustache. An inconsistency, sir. I mean, yes. There's a clear inconsistency here. What nonsense. What can this document possibly tell us that we don't already know? Well, obviously. That, I know what I want to say, but the words just won't come out of my mouth. I think this proves beyond any doubt, Your Excellency, that there is no place for an amateur student here in the Grand Courtroom. Ugh, this is so frustrating. Oh, please. Surely this doesn't require an explanation. It couldn't be more plain. To spell it out would be an insult to the court. Kazuma, what? What are you talking about? It's apparent from a single glance at the post-mortem report presented by the defense that there's a clear discrepancy here with the sergeant's statement. What? Sergeant, Ayesa Noza. Yes, sir. What, sir? The statement you just made was this. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian and from the back, the cowardly little weasel. Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. I witnessed the crime with my own military-grade eyes, sir. But no, that just can't be. And why not, cadet? Because... And it's clearly stated in the post-mortem report. Fatal hemorrhage from pictorial ballistic trauma. No exit wound. Bullet did not pass through the body. The photographic print of the victim clearly shows the same thing. The victim, Dr. Wilson, died from a bullet wound to the chest. Ah! Sergeant, according to your witness statement, the culprit shot the victim from behind. And that is the obvious discrepancy here. Well, how do you explain it? What? What was that? Something just popped up from behind his back, but he pushed it down again. Certainly, there is a clear discrepancy with the facts here. Would you not agree, Sergeant Noza? Yes, sir. At this juncture, that would appear to be indisputable. Until the moment... Oh, is that a kid? Until the moment I heard the firearm discharge, my eyes were firmly fixed on the delicious da Carnival steak, sir. What? The last testimony the court heard has proven one thing beyond all reasonable doubt. The witness, Sergeant Ayesa Noza, did not see the defendant firing a gun at all. Ugh, that's absurd. I think the conclusion we must draw is simple. There is no place for an amateur prosecutor here in this grand courtroom. Yeah. There's been a complete turnabout in the mood of this trial, just from that one discrepancy. So, this is what being an ace attorney is all about. But I definitely saw him. That university cadet there, he was pointing the firearm directly at the victim's back. But I never fired the gun. All I did was pick it off the floor. And you, old man, you didn't see the moment the victim was shot either. He's like so focused on his damn antiques, he doesn't care what's going on right now. Myself, I have already been quite clear. The gunshot interested me not. Of course it doesn't. I was far too busy on the floor. Too busy on the floor. Sorry. What were you doing? Hunting for treasure. Treasure. Indeed. The Howe Arakoban. My prized coin. On each occasion when I visit the restaurant, it is my aptitude to place in my bosom pocket a particular trinket of interest from my shop Razute, in the hope of meeting a rich diner who might like to buy it from you. On the day under scrutiny, it was to the military man that I profited my Howe treasure. Believed that he would purchase such a rare find, I did not, but I was presented with a little alternative. And then, after averting my eyes for the briefest of moments, it was there no more, it simply vanished. The koban vanished. Hunting around under the table I was, in case mayhap it had fallen there, and then it happened. You heard the gunshot, you mean? Indeed I did, but I heeded it not, for I was concerned only with finding my absconded OA treasure. Nothing could distract me. Out of interest. Did you find the coin in the end? No. I see. That lamb table day. The precious Howe Koban was lost to me. No doubt, someone oh my god, I can't read this. Unscrupulous scoundrel pocketed the prize coin for himself. As I am sure everyone present is aware, this case demands a swift and decisive resolution. Our government has promised to send a full report to Great Britain by a telegraph this very afternoon. Nevertheless, the witness testimony the court has just heard was inconclusive. No matter how subservient our government feels, it must be the British. It would be unforgivable to deliver a verdict on this trial right now. What is your position, Prosecutor Oshii? Huh? Worry not, Your Excellency. The defendant may have fled a tiger at the front gate, but he will find a wolf at the back. My witnesses have further testimony to make. Explain. Upon hearing their next statements, it will become abundantly clear that there is only one person who could possibly have committed this despicable crime. The equally despicable defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. What? He really seems to have a despicable opinion of you, doesn't he? Ugh. Very well. The court invites the witness to testify again. You will thoroughly explain the reasoning behind the prosecution's allegation. Is that clear? As clear as Kariko glass. Your Excellency. Yes, sir. At once, sir. Awaiting signal to testify, sir. Excuse me, but there's something or someone peeking out over your shoulder, I think. Affirmative. The newest member of the Nosa family to rise up through the ranks, sir. Name, Ido. It would seem those straps are a sign of a sergeant being too strapped to afford a nanny. Ido. Tension! Your father is about to quell the enemy. Watch and learn, my boy. Witness testimony. The true culprit. Even if what I saw was in the precise moment the firearm was discharged, it's almost the same thing. Yes, pointing his gun at the Ford man he was. That young lad in back, that much I myself did see. Furthermore, a visual search of the premises at the time confirmed that we were the only personnel present. Indeed, alone he was, the Englishman, dining all by himself. Therefore, no one other than the black uniformed cadet could have dispatched the Englishman. Over and out. My God, I don't see anything wrong with that. These testimonies are... Wait, that's nonsense. The victim, Dr. Wilson, wasn't alone at all. Please, enough of these outbursts already. But there was a young woman at his table. You must have seen her. Everyone there must have seen her. If you call yourself a lawyer, then you will respect the rules of the court and speak accordingly. We are not here to listen to your fantasies. Ugh. It is evident beyond all reasonable doubt that the victim was alone at the time of the incident. The prosecution has photographic evidence of this fact. Is this a photographic print of the scene of the crime, counsel? Indeed. Off the table at which the victim was dining, taken by the investigator immediately after the incident. As can plainly be seen, there is only one place set. Certainly, based on the appearance of this print. It would be reasonable to conclude that the victim was not in the company of anyone else. Ugh, this doesn't make any sense. This court will add this new photographic evidence to the record. The photographic print of the crime scene has been entered into the court record. Crime scene photograph, a bottle of carbonated water and a steak lunch can be seen on the victim's table. I don't understand. What's going on here? It's just not possible that nobody else saw that woman. The waiter before said the same thing. He maintains that Dr. Wilson came to the restaurant alone as well. But that's not true. I saw her. I swear that I saw a woman with him. It would seem that we'll be able to telegraph the report to Great Britain on time after all. The witness testimonies we have just heard leave no further room for doubt. These are very sensitive political times. As we all know, the ink is still fresh on the treaty with Great Britain. To think that I, Takasuchi Ochi, will have contributed to the amity of these two great empires in honor. How can this be happening? The judge is ready to rule. Stand tall, Ryunosuke. It's not over yet. What? If what you say is true, then there's something going on here behind the scenes. And now is your chance to expose it, to draw out the truth in your cross-examination. I don't know, Kazuma. The defense is entitled to cross-examine the witness, but make it quick, understood? Rules can be so unbinding and unbending at times. Ugh. Yeah, I don't like him either, guy. I really don't. Cross-examination. The true culprit. Okay, let's look at it. Even if what I saw wasn't the precise moment the firearm was discharged, it's almost the same thing. Yes, pointing his gun at the foreign man, he was the young lad in black. That much I myself can see. Furthermore, a visual search of the premises at time confirmed that we were only personnel present. Indeed, alone, he was the Englishman dining all by himself. Therefore, no one other than the black uniform cadet could have dispatched the Englishman over and out. What do you think, Ryunosuke? Oh. What's the matter? I can't find anything. I can't find a clear discrepancy anywhere. I'm done for. I can't win this trial. No. No, no, no! Listen, the first thing to do is calm down. You can't expect witnesses' statements to be full of holes every time, so just take your time and try to tease more information out of them at first. What do you mean, press? You can choose to either press or present against each of the witnesses' statements. If a witness is saying something you're suspicious about, press it on with L1. With a little luck, you may get more details, which could prove to be crucial. Right, I see. The important point is, there's no sense in holding back. If anything even slightly jars with you, press the witnesses on it and press them hard. Alright, got it. I'll press them like blocks out of tofu. The professor wasn't alone in the restaurant, I'm sure of it. And one way or another, the cross-examination is going to prove I'm right. It's time to press them. For all they're worth, my fate depends on it. Oh no, the other way. You must have noticed someone else at Dr. Wilson's table. There was a lady there. As you have been at pains to point out time and again, I feel like I'm growing a callus in my ear. And yet, no one else appears to have caught even a glimpse of this woman. Ugh, if only there had been more people dining there at the time, then someone else would have noticed her. Unfortunately, it was already past 2 p.m. when it happened. The quiet time between lunch and dinner in any restaurant, I know. Of course, the place was almost empty. It's what you'd expect. Certainly, 2 p.m. is neither here nor there in terms of time to eat. I wonder if there was a reason why the victim was eating at the time of day, and why he was alone. Yes, Your Excellency, there was indeed a reason. There was? This was found in the victim's jacket pocket. What is that, Counsel? It is a medical report card, Your Excellency. It would seem that the victim had an appointment at the clinic prior to visiting the restaurant. Hotel Clinic, yes, there would indeed appear to be an entry for the date in question. 19th November, noon to past 1 p.m. I pressed the right one, apparently. The very day of the incident. So the victim went for a late lunch following his appointment. The explanation couldn't be more simple. The prosecution felt no need to submit this evidence before, as it really has no bearing on the case. I wonder. What do you think, Ryunosuke? Well, it is hard to see how it could be related, really. Remember, you can request for it to be entered into the court record as evidence if you think it could be useful. Should I ask Dr. Wilson's medical report card to be submitted as evidence? Or not? Ask for it to be submitted. If I may, I'd like to ask for the medical report card to be submitted as evidence, Your Excellency. On what grounds? The court has already heard conclusive witnesses' testimony. Additional evidence would be strenuous. Not to mention that the victim's movements prior to his arrival at the restaurant are of no concern. Whether or not they are of concern is up to us to decide. We have a right to explore all possible avenues. I beg your pardon. You have no authority to refuse a perfectly valid request for the submission of evidence. Very well. The court will grant the defense request. Youngsters these days are forever asserting their rights. It's a most disturbing trend. Officer, kindly add the victim's medical report card to the court record. The victim's medical report card has been entered into the court record. A medical report card from Hoda Clinic that was found in the victim's pocket. What we need right now is new clues. We have to explore things from every possible angle, even if they don't seem relevant at first. Right, I hear you. You can conspire to prolong this trial as much as you like, but it's the day after the festival already for you. Or perhaps you've forgotten that these witnesses' testimonies leave no room for doubt. Feel free to reiterate for the accused, Kodakuta-san. Indeed, alone he was the Englishman dining all by himself. Therefore, no one other than the black uniformed cadet could have dispatched the Englishman over and out. Excellent work, Ryunosuke. We've gleaned some new information now. Well, yes, but I don't feel like it changes much. I can't see that it brings any real discrepancies to light. I wouldn't be so sure. Let me see that medical report card you got before. Oh, you mean this? Yes, this is a brand new piece of evidence, so perhaps we should examine it in a little more detail. How exactly? You'll notice that some pieces of evidence bear a magnifying glass. There are ones you may examine. Oh, cool. Press X and you can take a closer look at the piece in question. Use right stick up, left, down, and right. To rotate the evidence in all directions and examine it from all angles. By using L up, left, down, and right. Oh cool, that's like it's just showing me. You can move the crosshairs around to hunt for clues that may have been missed before. That's good to know, thank you. If the crosshairs start to pulsate, press X to investigate further. Man, this guy, like, his words, man. He's really thinking about that, isn't he? Pulsate. So, partner, I think you should take a closer look at this medical report card. Okay, as long as you can pulsate for me, okay, Kazuma? See if there isn't something new to be learned by examining it in more detail. Alright, I'll see what I can do. I need to use R up, R left, R down, R right, L up, R left, no, L left, L down, L right, and X to inspect any areas of the evidence that look suspicious. Alright, let's pulsate this. Medical report card required for every visit. It says Hoda Clinic on this medical report card. I hate clinics almost as much as I hate hospitals and surgeries. Aren't they all the same? When I was 5, I caught the only cold I've ever had in my life. And I remember, even though I felt awful already, I had to have this hideous injection in my right arm. I'll never forget it, never in my whole life. Needles are cool though. Most people would give their right arm to have had only one cold in their whole life. Anyway, I don't think this is a clinic where they treat people for illnesses like that. Let's keep looking for clues. We don't want to miss anything. Is this the same thing? Dentist, Hotel Clinic, date, record number 372857. It looks like this medical report card was first issued quite some time ago. It's probably a record of long-term treatment. That's why with a family doctor, I imagine. Well, I can't imagine going to a doctor. I mean, as long as I'm alive, I've never consulting one. I'm never consulting one. Well, if you were dead, there would be no point. So if you don't like doctors, then why would you? They make you drink horrible tasting medicine. They give you painful injections. And then they demand lots of money from you for the privilege. All when you're at your lowest ebb. You sound like a model patient. With a bad case of stubbornness, no less, for which the only cure is very bitter medicine indeed. Healthy curiosity. I can't find anything out of place. Okay. Let's have a look. This is some kind of medical history. Ah, and there's an entry for the day the professor was killed. Extraction of molar with topical anesthesia. Extraction of molar, you mean he had the tooth taken out? It would seem so. Just before the incident, he had a bad tooth removed. Perhaps they use laughing gas. That's the most modern practice in the West for pain relief. Yes, I've heard of this anesthesia. Anesthesia, oh my god. Although it's hard to believe there's anything that can actually stop your feeling pain. Ah, there's a cautionary note from the medical practitioner as well. Strictly no food or drink besides water for 3 hours post-procedure until anesthetics effects have passed. Really? Sounds like information worth bearing in mind. The medical report card's information has been updated in the court record. Medical report card, a record of dental work. On the day of the murder, the victim had undergone dental treatment and been prohibited from eating or drinking anything but water. With this new information, the meaning of that one particular statement totally changes. So I think it's time we listen to the testimony again, don't you? Definitely. Okay, so furthermore, a visual search of the premises at the time confirmed they were the only personnel present. Indeed, alone he was the Englishman dying all but... So you actually saw that with your own eyes, did you? The victim, Dr. Wilson, dying alone? That I did. Forgive me for the position I place you in. So the testimonies of the old man, the soldier, and the waiter all agree on that point. Isn't that interesting? And let us not forget the incontestable evidence we have to support their statements as well. As can clearly be seen, there is only a single beefsteak on the victim's table, a meal for one. No. The antiques dealer, the sergeant, and the waiter who testified before. It's not impossible that they're all lying. But, if so, then why? If I'm perfectly honest, I have absolutely no idea. Okay. He puts his hand up. Well, I think, about what are you wittering, lad? Call yourself a lawyer. I wish I could, but first and foremost here, I'm the accused. Ryunosuke. Everyone stumbles on their words occasionally under the circumstances. I wouldn't worry about it. Thanks, Kazuma. I could see it quite clearly in that cross-examination you just carried out. When you raised your hand straight up like that, so purposefully, you knew exactly what it was you wanted to say. Don't feel like you have to choose your words carefully. Just say what you're thinking. Alright, and thanks for the advice. Kore kudasa. This is a medical report card belonging to the victim. Ah, I see, and I don't see. What of it, boy? Comparing what is written on this report card with your witness's statement, something clearly doesn't add up. Dear me, have you forgotten my words so soon, you amateur? Sorry, what? You are not to interrupt court proceedings with your amateur drivel. But let's see if I can explain in words you might understand. It was after 2 p.m. in the afternoon when the victim was murdered at the restaurant. Whatever he may or may not have done before that time is completely irrelevant. Ugh. But that's, remember, Ryunosuke, you don't have to use clever language or fancy words, just make your point. Your Excellency, I believe we're finished here. There is surely no need to prolong this trial further. The witness testimonies the court has heard have been clear and concise. The medical report card has no bearing on the matter at all, for the simple reason that there is no one else besides this pale-faced people. Good. They made it on purpose to interrupt. That's good. What was he going to say, though? There is no one else besides the pale-faced people who could possibly have perpetrated the crime. The medical report card has nothing to do with the case? Do you really believe that? What? That outburst have petrified me, boy. Of course I believe it. How could it possibly be relevant? Perhaps because Hota Clinic, which issued the report card, is a dental clinic. A dental clinic? Is that supposed to mean something to me? Perhaps if I told you that the victim had just had a tooth extracted. What's this now? And furthermore, if I told you that as a result the victim had been forbidden from eating. Just what are you trying to say, cadet? He had orders not to eat, so what? It's all written up in here. No food or drink other than water for 3 hours post-procedure while anesthesia wears off. What? No, that can't. Korekuta-san. What, boy? What? As you just heard, when he was killed sometime shortly after 2 p.m., the victim couldn't have been eating anything at all. No. Additionally, there's more. You have assured the court with unwavering self-confidence that the victim was dining alone. But that cannot possibly be the case. Because the victim, as we know now had just had one of his teeth extracted and was still experiencing the effects of the anesthetic. Expertly done, partner. What? What is this nonsense, you little upstart? These are baseless accusations. Just look at this photographic evidence. You can clearly see the plate of food at the victim's table. Use your head. That's the very discrepancy we're talking about, or can't you follow the logic? How dare you? I think it's fair to say that the tables in this restaurant case have turned. Wouldn't you agree, Ryunosuke? Yes, most definitely. So, having just undergone some dental surgery, the victim was unable to eat, which leaves one very crucial conundrum. Who in fact was eating the pictured beefsteak? The court will hear the opinion of the defense on this new puzzle. I assume you're ready, counsel. Counsel. Oh, that means me, doesn't it? Alright, the answer to this question is going to be pivotal. This is the start of you turning this trial around. Show them what you're made of. Got it. So, the person eating the steak at the victim's table must have been... an as yet unknown third party, it's obvious. Obviously, it can only have been someone else who was sitting at the professor's table. You will not let this go, will you? There was no such person. There was, because I saw her. When the incident occurred, we know that the victim couldn't have been eating anything. Yet, we have evidence of half-eaten steak on his table. Therefore, the only logical conclusion is that there was somebody else there eating it. Ugh. We have strong evidence to support assertion. It's clear that these witnesses' testimonies are unreliable. If the court decides to push through a ruling at this stage, we will lodge a formal complaint with the Ministry of Justice and pursue a fair retrial relentlessly. Kazuma, are you insane? You would take on the government? Don't worry, counsel. I have no issue with you. What do you mean? I have an issue with them. Those two witnesses in the stand. What are you talking about? We have demonstrated with evidence that the victim was not alone. So, if it now turns out that the two of you deliberately lied when giving your testimonies, obviously, you will be charged with perjury. And since this is a murder trial, you will also be deemed complicit in the killing. Complicit in murder? No! I'm sorry. Oh my god. Negative. There was no mention of this at the tactical meeting. I was just following orders. That's right, as the man says. Just say you never saw the gentlewoman. That's what they told us. Oh, he just came out with it. Oh. What? What did you just say? Korekute-san? Oh, no. You were just following orders? Now hold on, lad. I was, say you never saw the gentlewoman. When you say gentlewoman, do you mean you saw the victim with the lady from overseas? What? What? What is the meaning of all this? These witnesses gave false statements? Is this true, you pair? Just one. Just one simple slip of the tongue. Order! Order! Counsel, explain what is going on here. It's painfully clear now. You tried to prevent these witnesses from telling the truth. Absolutely not. The prosecution knows nothing of this. Then who's behind this? Who tried to make you keep your mouth shut? Well, that's classified. So you're prepared to be tried as a conspirator to this murder, are you? You wouldn't... This can't be happening. Ryunosuke. Judging from the way they are reacting to this, I'd say they were sworn to silence by someone with considerable influence. However, I don't believe Oshi had any idea about it. What are you saying? I mean, to wield that kind of influence, there are only a handful of possibilities. It could only have been the government, the military, or the police, I suppose. Well, any ideas about who might be behind this? If we can affirm who tried to silence these witnesses, then we can continue our pursuit. So we need to name whoever it was that tried to make the witnesses keep their mouths shut. Of course, we'll need evidence before we make any firm accusations. Evidence that proves whoever it was really did wield his or her power here. But how? How can we possibly remember how we made progress before? We examined this piece of evidence in more detail and found a new clue as a result. Oh yes, that's right. Well, that's not the only piece of evidence we have, is it? We need to re-examine everything and make sure there's nothing we've missed. There's no time to lose. I want answers. If it's proven that these witnesses have been manipulated, I assure you the penalty will be severe. Please, wait. Your Excellency, I had no idea about any of this. I swear to every Shinto god. I knew nothing. And what does the defense have to say about all this? Well, Your Excellency. Ugh, no time to think. I'm just going to have to just close my eyes and shout out the first name that comes in my head. Besides, the prosecution, the only person with the necessary influence to manipulate the witnesses is... this guy. It's obvious. There. What do you make of that? I think, Counsel, that you may want to close your ears as well as your eyes. Otherwise, the signs of disappointment in the courtroom may very well deafen you. If you feel you must close your eyes in a crisis, suggest you keep your mouth shut next time, too. Otherwise, I may have to use the influence I have in this courtroom to shut it permanently. How did I get that wrong? I don't know what it is about that prosecutor exactly, but he really makes me wince in pain sometimes. I don't have a great deal of influence myself, but believe me, I can't find any other ways to make you keep your mouth shut. I can find other ways to make you keep your mouth shut as well. Alright, don't get angry. I'll think again. There must be a clue somewhere in the evidence in the court. Actually, now that I think about it, there might be some pieces of evidence I haven't thoroughly examined yet. Now, what does the defense have to say about all this? Well, Your Excellency. Ugh, no time to think. I'm just going to have to close my eyes and shout out the first name that comes into my head. Besides the prosecution, the only person with the necessary influence to manipulate the witnesses. Okay, who is it? Okay, before I make a hasty decision again, because I'm like wasting here, like it's either I'm stuck between this guy and this one. Let's try this one. Surely that would be Satoru Hasunaga-san. Hasunaga-san, the waiter who took the stand earlier? Poppycock. What possible reason would the waiter have to make these witnesses give false testimony? Not to mention the fact that even a head waiter could not possibly have that level of influence. For once, I would agree with you. If that is, the man truly were a waiter. What? If he truly were. Come on, Mirosuke. Time to hit this court with the truth. The truth about Satoru Hasunaga's real entity as proven by the evidence. Oh! Chief Inspector Satoru Hasunaga, Primary Criminal Investigation, Imperial Police Bureau. Well, that's unexpected. What is? Look, do you see it says the witness's name here? Satoru Hasunaga. Well, yes, business cards do tend to show the person's name. That's sort of the point. It's not the name that's unexpected, it's his job title. His job. Oh! Chief Inspector Satoru Hasunaga, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. Inspector, what on earth? I have no idea. But let's face it, the police have a lot of power and influence if they're wielding it somehow here. The waiter's business card information has been updated in the court record. Waiter's business card. A sketch of the restaurant's layout is on in the back. On the front, it stated that Hasunaga-san is a police inspector. Can I examine something else? I was curious what that was about. Oh, you can't examine something like that? Okay. My personal student number is engraved on the back here. If you lose your pen, they won't accept you as a UMA student at the university. You may not come in, they say. Of course, you can get a new pen made if you can just tell them your number. I've actually lost mine twice already, but I still don't know my stupid number by heart. I always say to myself, I mustn't forget to write it down somewhere, but then I forget not to forget that. Ah, the symbol of Yume University. Every student wears this pin with pride. It's funny, but most emblems seem to be either round or rectangular. I like this spike design, even though it doesn't really make any sense. Although, it does cause problems. Lots of students end up cutting their fingers on their badges. Perhaps it was the idea of one of the founders, a sharp pin for a sharp mind or something. The plan of the restaurant sketched by the man in question. I agree it shows a great deal of attention into detail, but I'm not sure we can conclude anything. Sorry, Your Excellency, that's the back of the card. It's the back of the card that's of interest. Alright, I beg your pardon? Or perhaps I should have said the front. Yes, it's the front of the back of the card that's where the telling detail is. Would somebody please explain what this overexcited student is trying to say? Hasunaga-san sketched the plan of the restaurant on the reverse side of his business card. The front of the business card reveals the man is questions profession, his true profession. The waiter's profession, but that's surely... Good gracious. That's right, Your Excellency. The card reads, Chief Inspector, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. What? The waiter is a police detective? I haven't heard any mention of this before. Why haven't I heard any mention of this before? The Imperial Police Bureau has immense power, absolute power, as far as regular civilians are concerned. So, witnesses there in the stand. Was it in fact the waiter who gave you your orders? Was it he who told you not to mention that you'd seen the foreign gentlewoman at the scene? Well... Inspector Hasunaga. I was worried something like this may happen. The moment you asked me to submit my sketch as evidence, I realized it was a possibility. The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence. Well... Is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once. Of course, here you are. Yes, I remember now. He did act strangely when the judge asked him to hand over his business card. I strive to carry out all investigations flawlessly in my guiding principle, but I let myself be distracted when I made that sketch. It was an unusual, careless mistake. So, you mean to say, you really are a detective? But why would a detective be working as a restaurant waiter? Ah, of course, your salary must be terrible. I was working undercover. Undercover? Yes. There have been a series of incidents at the restaurant recently. In order to investigate, I decided to get a job there as a waiter working undercover. Incidents at the restaurant? What kind of incidents? That would be classified police information, which I am not deliberately to divulge. However, I can state categorically that they are unrelated to this case of homicide. Very well then, Inspector Hasunaga, but you will elaborate at one point for the court. Of course, Your Excellency. We have just heard new information from the two witnesses beside you. That at the time of the shooting, there was in fact another person present at the victim's table. If that is indeed true, clearly you would have also been aware of this person's presence, having served at the table in question. However, your testimony did not allude to this other diner. Therefore, I am led to assume that in your professional capacity as a police officer, you required these witnesses to be in agreement. Would that be correct? Correct, Your Excellency. Unbelievable. As I suspected. Bang. As soon as I heard the gunshot, I ran out to the kitchen to see what had happened. The victim sat slumped in his chair, and beside him, gun in hand, stood the accused student. Sitting opposite the victim at the same table was a young lady whom I guessed to be an Englishwoman. So, the truth comes out. I immediately sealed off the restaurant and reported the incident to the Bureau. It was then that I received some special orders. Special orders, you mean to say? Remove the Englishwoman from the scene at once. It was made clear that the Englishwoman's presence at the restaurant was to be concealed. Those were my orders. But what if the Englishwoman was the killer? I think it would be in everyone's best interest not to pursue that idea. The Empire views the friendly terms of its relationship with Britain more highly than anything at the moment. An Englishwoman has been murdered on our Englishman has been murdered on our soil. To name an Englishwoman as the primary suspect, well, without irrefutable evidence, that would be completely out of the question. So that's the reason for the disappearance of the Phantom Woman in this case. But it's not right. Wow, this is really long. It's like, I've already done like 2 hours of this already. Almost. One possibility does spring to mind. What do you mean, Kazuma? Yume University is currently hosting a number of exchange students from Great Britain, and I'm fairly certain that one of them studying in the medical faculty research laboratory is a young Englishwoman. What? You're a shrewd man. I can see why you're the chosen candidate for the overseas study tour. You mean, when I removed the woman from the scene of the crime, I thought it prudent to check her identity first. Then, The court demands that you name the lady in question at once, Inspector. The English woman sitting at the university professor's table was a certain Miss Jezebel Brett. She is indeed a foreign student studying in the research laboratory of UMay University's medical faculty. What is happening here? I admit that under orders of the police bureau, I erased all evidence of this lady's presence at the scene. And ordered these witnesses to make no mention of her in their testimonies. It must now be up to your excellency to decide how to deal with this situation. Very well. My thoughts on the matter are as follows. Thus far, the case presented to the court has been underpinned by a particularly critical premise. Namely, that the victim was dining alone. Are you kidding me? However, as we have now discovered that this premise is false, it would be a discretion of our justice system to ignore the truth and give a ruling at this point. But Your Excellency, that would mean missing the noon deadline of a ruling in order to send the telegraphic report to Great Britain. Our own government will surely be very displeased by such actions. Calm yourself, Counsel. I will not allow the government of our country or any other to influence the proceedings at my courtroom. Ugh. Inspector Hasunaga. Yes, sir. You will locate this Giselle Brett and escort her to the courtroom with the utmost urgency. At once, Your Excellency. But that means you'll be going against the special orders you were given from the police bureau. As I said before, it is my guiding principle to carry out all investigations flawlessly. So, it won't be a problem? Nothing will get in my way. This guy's like coughing up blood. Court will adjourn briefly. The prosecution must call the English student Giselle Brett to the witness stand. Do I make myself clear? Yes. Your Excellency. Good. Then we'll have a 30-minute recess before reconvening. To be continued. Oh, to be continued within a chapter? That's cool. Alright, I guess I'll stop here for now. That was a lot. No, I don't want to save there. No. Is that an autosave? Oh, it is autosave. Okay. Trial Part 2. Alright.